Today I want to talk about lag. Why do we want lag? What is lag? Lag is the arc and the radius of the golf swing on the way down. When we pull on the golf club at the top of the backswing, if we pull hard enough and we've got a light enough grip, the handle will move faster, the levers will set more. When the levers set more, it gives us more opportunity to swing the club head down at the bottom of the golf ball. When we set and load the golf club and then the club is allowed to swing at the bottom, the speed will be maximized. We'll also have the opportunity to create an angle of attack. The angle of attack is the ingredient that gives us the possibility to start to create a dynamic loft that will give us the ball speed that we look for with whether it's a driver or whether it's an iron shot. So this lag and load in the downswing is a huge ingredient. I've got the Hack Motion device on my hand here today, and what this allows us to do is start to measure in transition when we pull and load the golf club, the amount of radial deviation that I've got on my left wrist will really give me a value on whether I am pulling on the golf club and creating load, or when I push away and create too much width, you can now see that that value's become negative and my wrist angle has become ulnar in its orientation. So why is lag so hard to achieve for golfers? Well, first of all, golf grips and club faces are a problem child. So making sure that the grip, and if you haven't seen it, my ultimate grip guide is a video to go out and seek, because it will really give you an opportunity to hold the club in what I consider to be a really important orientation. Now, with the feedback that I've got here with the Hack Motion device, it allows me at the top, as I pull on the golf club, as I start to narrow up the arc, you can see the value in the bottom right-hand corner starts to increase to a positive value. Now, the more positive it is, for longer, the more opportunity that I will then have to unload the golf club. Now, when we unload the golf club, it's inevitable that we are always going to see some form of droop in the club shaft. And we can see now the ulnar variation or deviation of the wrist now becomes a negative value. So when we're starting to give you the opportunity to feel the narrowing up, and then as I start to come through the ball, how much I'm still trying to create the value still with a positive amount, gives me as a golfer the opportunity to put that pressure on the handle. Putting that pressure on the handle is probably the biggest question I get through my channel comments and feeds. How do I do it? When do I do it? Well, ultimately, when the golf club has been pulled, as I pull it, the head going back this way is trying to pull the handle up. But now as I push the handle down, we now have the opportunity to actually measure where the wrist angle is in space relative to where it was at address. So you can see it was -30 at address. Now as I go into my downswing, that's a very different orientation. So when you think about what the brain is having to go through when we're lagging this golf club, and then how we perceive strike, what we feel is strike, invariably up, you can see why early extension with the shaft, casting with the shaft, becomes so prevalent. Because that's how golfers feel strike. Then you add to the fact that the golfer is trying to swing the golf club handle inside out as well, which when you're moving the handle inside out is actually making the face more open. But not only that, it is making the gap that where you started and where you returned smaller between the gap between the start point and the ball, then means that you've got to unload the shaft downwards. Now look at the ulnar deviation. It's a hugely negative value. But it also points the face right, which is why the wrist angle now needs to be flattened off and bowed. A hugely flexed left wrist at minus 40 degrees. So as we start to understand that as we move down and we start to lag and load the golf club, and then as we start to feel like we need to keep the handle down underneath us, we're starting to get some values on the screen that we can start to hang our hat on. And I think when you're starting to be able to rehearse into impact and see those values and start to develop some sensations of how the wrist angles start to work, what we're looking for is a consistent opportunity to start to change, not a bad shot, how the ulnar deviation is at impact, how much wrist flexion and extension that we have at impact, and how those two values go together with what we see in the sky. So when we create more lag with the golf club, all of a sudden, where this handle works becomes even more important. So that when we lag and load the golf club, if we then rise up and to the right, the face is going to be meteorically open. When we lag and load the golf club, and we now feel how the handle can stay underneath me, and I allow the golf club to swing out and around, look at the wrist extension value that's not changing as the golf club swings. Look at the radial deviation that's not changing as the golf club swings. As a feeling, that's overwhelming. Overwhelming that you can now sense exactly where that handle needs to be as the golf club swings around us. Sense where that golf club needs to be as the club head swings around us. So I push down as much as I dare. I allow the golf club to swing. Positive 25 of wrist extension down through strike, yet I have hit a draw. There is no sign of bow of the left wrist there. But what I have now been managed to do is create some lag and load and a way to use that, a way to deal with it through strike. Because ultimately, we can all, without the face intact, without the club head being there when we're using these speed sticks, it's easy to lag and load. Oh, look how much I've lagged and loaded the golf club. You do that with a golf club, and then you make the handle rise up the way we have done because of where we've been trying to push and pull the head and the handle through strike, be hitting it off the charts. And you'll use precisely 0 of that speed that you're creating with these speed devices. So giving yourself the opportunity to go up to the top, feel like you've got no wrist set, then you can feel like you've got load of wrist set, and then as you come back down, looking to keep that radial deviation, which will allow you to feel how much the handle is underneath you. And of course now, you would need to start to get in more forward bend. As you get in more forward bend, look at how much more pressure I would need in my left heel to facilitate that. Or else if it's on the toe of my feet, look how much I would tend to fall over. So with the aid of the Hack Motion device, it's allowed me to give you an insight into sharing what these values could look like to hit drawn golf shots. But not only that, how lag and load in your downswing as you pull and swing will allow you to create even more club head speed. I think you'll find that's good coaching. Thanks for stopping by.